Hi there and welcome to another episode of Golf Today. I'm your host, Marika Washtishin. On today's episode, we'll explore the unique and lucrative world of golf auctions. We'll also build a dream course out of 18 standout holes from the 2017 USGA Championship Rota. And finally, we'll look at what golfers everywhere, both professional and amateur, are buzzing about: the proposed changes to the rules of golf. We'll break down the most important things that you need to know for your game. But first, this year's USGA Championship venues provide holes upon holes of challenging, exciting golf. But what if you could pick the perfect 18 to make your own fairy tale course? Golf Magazine's course design expert Joe Passoff did just that.
This year's lineup of USGA Championship venues is comprised of some of history's most celebrated and innovative designs, with a few hidden treasures. Here, from the 2017 USGA Championship venues, is our Dream 18. Leading off, the 5th hole at Pinehurst No. 2, host to the US Amateur 4-Ball. This Donald Ross masterpiece played as a long, tough par 4 for much of his life, but as of the 2014 US Open, is switched to a risk-reward par 5. The tilt of the ground from right to left, as well as severe trouble left of the green, both entice and confound. The 2nd hole is the 4th hole at San Diego Country Club, host to the US Women's Amateur. The 3rd hole is Los Angeles Country Club North Course. This par 4 will host the Walker Cup. Hole number 4 on our Dream 18, Boone Valley Golf Club. Their 18th hole, a watery par 4. Number 5, Capital City Club's Crabapple Course, host to the US Mid-Amateur. Number 6, Trump National Golf Club. The 6th hole there. Our 7th hole, Riviera's 6th, a par 3 that's host to the US Amateur. Number 8, Waverly Country Club's 17th hole. The 9th hole is a lot like Pebble Beach's 7th, straight downhill to a tiny narrow green. The architects have infused it with a sea of fescue grasses and the nastiest set of bunkers this side of Oakmont. For the 10th hole, we're going back to Riviera. This tiny 315-yard par 4 is drivable under the right circumstances, but it's nearly impossible to hold the narrow diagonal green. Instead, players have to have the discipline to hit it up the left side and get the best angle in. Jack Nicklaus calls this the most options on any short par 4 in the game. Our 11th hole, Los Angeles Country Club North's 11th hole. 12th, we go back to Erin Hills for their 12th hole. The 13th is Salem Country Club, host to the US Senior Open. Coming in at number 14, the Minnetonka Club, the par 5 13th hole. At number 15, we have the Dunes Golf and Beach Club, host to the US Women's Amateur 4-Ball. Number 16 is Flint Hills National Golf Club, the 10th hole. Number 17 is the club at Las Campanas Sunset Course. Their 4th hole is a long par 4. Our final hole on the Dream 18, architect Robert Trent Jones Sr. invented the heroic school of design, and no hole better illustrates that than the par 5 13th at the Dunes. Known as Waterloo, this hole is a slicer's nightmare. It doglegs 110 degrees around alligator-filled and golf ball-filled Lake Singleton, culminating in a very three-puttable green. So there you have it, the 2017 USGA Dream 18. This should be a terrific championship season. I'm Traveling Joe Passoff. I'll see you down the road.
Alfonso, what is your handicap this week?
They had me playing to a 3 this week.
It's competitive.
I actually say it's not competitive because the guys who typically have the 8s, 10s, 12s, those are the guys who have a better chance of making the cut because they can contribute a bit more with their pro. It's a harder handicap. It just means that I got to go out there and actually play well.
But what is the greatest moment you've ever had on a golf course?
I think the greatest moment always is a hole-in-one. So I have 2 hole-in-ones at my home course at Lakeside Golf Club, and so those are absolutely the 2 greatest moments in golf for me.
Same hole?
Same hole, twice. I got the exact same hole, almost exact
same club?
Position, same club, same position. So it's a little short one, but it's still a hole-in-one.
What is it about golf? What is it about this game that drew you to it?
I think it's the idea that you cannot perfect this game. You can continue working your entire life to get better, and you'll never be perfect. And so the idea of, really constantly working to better your mind, your body, your swing, your thoughts, just all around working on it, to me is what makes this game so special.
A superintendent's job is never easy, but the USGA is investing in new technologies to give groundskeepers everywhere an extra hand. Let's check in with Mike Trossel to see how the USGA is helping to make the grass a little bit greener.
Thanks, Marika. Let's turn our attention to golf facilities, whose goal is to provide the best golfer experience possible to their customers. To do this, they have to be smart about how they maintain their courses and utilize limited economic and natural resources. The USGA, as part of our commitment to advancing the game, recently introduced a new product that will help facilities deliver on this promise. Let's take a look.
Resource management is an extremely important topic for golf courses worldwide. When we consider the rising costs to maintain a golf course, coupled with the amount of resources that we need to keep golf courses produced at a high level, and some of the concerns with the use of those resources, we need to be really mindful of.
Resource Management Tool is a web-based product that we've developed to be able to work with golf course superintendents on managing the golf course. So the idea behind it is that they will be able to better use the data on a very defined area of the golf course and then look at that on how they manage their resources.
The USGA is very committed to helping golf course facilities at all levels provide a superior golfer experience and to help them become more economically, environmentally viable and sustainable going into the future.
So we're looking at things like water, labor, fuel, those type of items, and be able to say, how do you reallocate those resources to be able to manage the course while still producing a quality golfer experience. We believe that you've got to have innovation. It's got to be based on science. It's got to be based on data. We've got a long history that has been committed to that, and we continue to have that commitment moving forward too.
Resource Management Tool took about 2 years. It was a collaborative effort through our Green Section agronomists on different maintenance practices and problems that face superintendents on a daily basis.
There's a lot of questions about how we're maintaining bunkers, how we're maintaining rough, and superintendents often express how can we document what kind of activities we're seeing in those areas, and then how can we showcase that those areas are costing so much money.
And the superintendent through the tool can do two things. One is they can change through the settings for each type of playing surface, whether it's fairways or rough or green or bunkers, change how that's being maintained and see in real time how that changes their overall expenditure of resources.
We've implemented heat mapping functionality to the application. This allows the superintendent to accurately map out how frequently golfers visit different areas of the golf course.
This can really help determine where they need to irrigate on their golf course. When it comes to adjusting how you maintain parts of the rough, this is where being able to track where the players go and don't go is significant, because if you realize you don't have to mow certain parts of the golf course as often as maybe what you were before, there's a significant savings with labor and with fuel and with energy, and being able to use that labor on parts of the course that are more important, that are receiving more play.
Research is going to be our commitment to make sure that we're pushing innovation forward in the game of golf.
Resource management on a handheld device with the aim of improving the experience of every golfer. Now that's a game changer for the future. Now let's throw it back to Marika in the Golf.com studios in New York.
Would you pay $10,000 to own a piece of golf history? As auction houses mine for golf treasures, some hardcore golf fans are upping the ante for rare collectibles. Before they're going once, going twice, sold. Golf Magazine's Josh Sens has the story.
Just a couple of months ago, one of Arnold Palmer's 4 Masters trophies sold at auction for $440,000 here in New Jersey, where I'm standing. Bob, what's going on here? You got a lot of stuff.
Well, right now you caught us right in the middle of preparing for our next auction, so stuff is all over the place. There's so many auction houses out there that sell baseball and football and boxing and everything else. We thought there's got to be a need for just golf. I think we had maybe 85 items in our first auction back in 2005. Nobody knew who we were. Now our auctions are 1,000 lots. We do 3 auctions a year. It's a full-time thing. And we get a lead, we'll get on the road, we'll make some phone calls, go see collections.
No one knows the exact size of the golf memorabilia market, but it's large. It ranges from everyday collectibles like autographed scorecards to budget-busting finds like one-of-a-kind golf clubs. A lot of cherished items are housed in museums, but lots of rarefied stuff makes its way to auction, like the green jacket Horton Smith won at the 1934 Masters. It fetched nearly $700,000 3 years ago. Or John F. Kennedy's golf clubs. Someone shelled out more than $1 million for them in 1996.
What's something you're most excited about?
We have actually Sam Snead's Masters trophy from the 1954 Masters. Through the 50s into the 60s, the champion got a silver humidor. It's got the Augusta National Clubhouse engraved on it, Bobby Jones and Cliff Roberts, and then the signatures of all the participants. We have actually a set of golf clubs that belong to Frank Sinatra. If you look, it's got his little image on it. These putters, there's probably only maybe 200 that are known to exist. These clubs could sell as much as $50,000. This is actually a silver medal from the 1928 U.S. Amateur. Whoa. It says, Robert T. Jones Jr. winner, T. Pete Perkins runner-up. That's kind of cool. I would want people to know that. Absolutely. I know I came in second, but I came in second to Bobby Jones.
Right.
By itself, it might be about a $6,000 medal, but with Bobby Jones's name on it, we're hoping that maybe someone will pay $20,000, $25,000.
Golf items sold at auctions scatter all around the world. Eager to acquire them are collectors like Ed Miller, whose Manhattan home calls to mind a 19th century Scottish pro shop.
I knew from the beginning that I wanted to collect artistic clubs, clubs that were different, patented, all sorts of odd-shaped clubs.
I love this.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. It's shafted on the toe and not on the heel. This is the putter Tiger Woods used to win the 1997 Masters. Bobby Jones used this famous one in 1930 to win his Grand Slam. It was later ruled illegal.
This is an early adjustable?
As you rotate the dial, the face angle changes. I think that's in the 1920s.
I didn't realize that technology went back that far.
Isn't that amazing?
Is there a single piece here that is your most prized?
This piece was about $10,000.
All right.
A friend of mine called me up. He was watching the Antiques Roadshow, and it was evaluated for $81,000 on that show. It could be used lefty, righty, and between the legs.
Before they banned the croquet.
Yeah.
For so long, people have been just trying to build the perfect club. Nobody's got the game mastered yet.
As Bobby Jones says, most of it's between the ears.
Can't buy that at an auction.
That's for sure. Yeah.
On March 1st, the USGA and R&A announced the largest overhaul to the rules of golf in recent memory. The changes were wide-ranging and cover everything from spike marks to pace of play to bunker do's and don'ts. The USGA's Thomas Pagel joined Ryan Aselta to explain how the two governing bodies arrived at their much-anticipated decisions.
All right, Thomas, the rules modernization goes into effect in 2019. Tell me first the overall thinking, the overall goal of the new set of rules that we're going to see.
Sure. I mean, this is all about bringing the rules up to date to meet the needs of the changing game globally. This is something that you look at approximately every 30 years. We take a fundamental review, and as we went through our regular 4-year rules cycle, you make these changes to make the rules more comprehensive, more fair, but they just become really complicated. And we were hearing that. So it was just time to make the rules easier to understand, easier to apply. Look at how we deliver the rules, how can we write the rules in a more modern, plain language. So we're really excited about where we are.
And this is really the first full revamp since 1984, and these rules have been around quite a long time, hundreds of years here, so quite the overhaul. Tell me about the timeline. I know we say they go into effect in 2019, but a lot's going to happen before that.
A lot is left to happen, but also if you look back, we've been working on this for over 5 years. So it was, again, a recognition that there was a lot of work to do. And now that we're previewing this draft code, it's time to go into a feedback period where we're asking golfers from throughout the world at all levels, look, here's what we've done. Tell us what you think. Tell us what you like, what you don't like. Give us that feedback, with this material that we're previewing. So we'll have that through August of this year, so August 2017. We'll go back and we'll finish drafting. And then in the spring of 2018, we're going to come out with what is the final code that'll take effect on January 1st, 2019. Then we're going to go into education mode, because we know educating golfers at all levels is going to be critical, whether it's professional referees or the guy that just wants to play on Saturday morning. So, we're going to go and we're going to develop digital education offerings. We're going to have classroom workshops throughout the country, help empower clubs and PGA professionals with providing them some educational materials. So still a lot to do between now and 2019.
Mike Davis has said this is an opportunity to reset the rules of golf that go back quite a long time. How difficult has that process been for the USGA?
It's been an exciting process because, again, the regular 4-year process, you're looking at discrete issues. You're looking at a single outcome saying, you know what, we're not sure we like this, let's figure out how we can fix it. This was an opportunity to step back, take the puzzle apart, look at everything, and then put it back together. So, it sounds daunting, but it was actually a great exercise to go through. I don't know that I could even estimate the amount of man hours that has been put into this, but it's been a highly collaborative process with our partners at the R&A, who we write the rules of golf with. Of course, the PGA Tour, European Tour, other experts from throughout the industry have been involved. And that collaboration will continue, again, as we go through this period of feedback. We're asking golfers from throughout the world to tell us what they think. Explain
who this will affect the most. Is it the tour pros? Is it the recreational golfer, the PGA professionals? Who will these rules really have a direct impact on?
So that's one of the great things about the game, is this is truly a single set of rules for the game worldwide at all levels. So yes, it's going to impact recreational golfers, club golfers, high handicappers, beginners, but it's also going to impact the PGA Tour professionals. And having a single set of rules, that ties every single golfer together. You're playing the same courses, same equipment, under the same rules. It's really unlike any other sport.
Real quick, to wrap things up, the timeline again, 6 months of feedback where golfers can go online and submit their feedback to the USGA?
They can go to usga.org/rules. Number of resources there, videos, infographic descriptions that PGA professionals can download, or just interested golfers. But anybody that wants to can either fill out a global survey that we have at usga.org. They can go through social. We have a hashtag GolfRules2019. And of course, we want to have conversations. So if anyone wants to reach out, they can email us directly at rules@usga.org.
So now's the time to do that before they go dark, as Thomas said, at the end of the year into 2018, and then the rules get launched in 2019.
And for more on those proposed rules changes, I'm pleased to welcome into our studios Sports Illustrated's Michael Bamberger and Golf.com's Sean Zock. Thank you both so much for joining me today, gentlemen. Let's talk about the specifics and what rule stands out most to you gentlemen as something that is the most significant change that we've seen so far, Sean.
I don't know if it's exactly a rule, but it's more of a recommendation. The stuff that stands out to me is the pace of play, decreasing the amount of time that a ball can be lost, or determining when the ball is lost from 5 minutes down to 3. I think that's a 40% change. That's a really significant amount that you can't be digging in the weeds forever anymore. You go up there, you got 3 minutes, you figure it out, and you go back to the tee or you find your golf ball and you play your golf ball. Now, on top of that, the recommendations of 40 seconds to hit your shot, ready golf, those kind of things are just, that's what moves golf forward. It moves you forward on the course as well.
To me, the most sweeping change is the use of non-sexist language in the rules, which is a stamp of the USGA saying that this is a new day in golf. The game seeks to be inclusive, and it's not a game for rich white men, and it hasn't been for 100 years. But leaving that aside, just that they went out of their way to make the language inclusive, I think is a very important statement.
These rule changes, they've been in the works for quite some time, about 5 years they've been working on this. But do we think it's possible that the timeline of all this was sort of pushed up as a reaction to some of the things that we saw over the last season in golf?
I don't think there's any question about that it got pushed up, because the USGA governing golf is just like any person in position of authority. They run golf at the consent of the governed. And there was a groundswell of these rules make no sense. There's no question that the events of 13 with Tiger Woods and the events with Dustin Johnson last year accelerated the process. I'm sure of that.
I think the insight from the players as well, that really brought the rule complaints to be something that was universal with golfers. It wasn't just that amateurs and mid-handicaps like myself were complaining about. When players chimed in and said, you know, these rules kind of have to be changed, it's not just us, it's not just amateurs, it's everyone in general that kind of wants this to happen. That's what I think really put the foot down and said, hey, let's take a look at this.
Michael, do you think that these changes go far enough? Over 100 modifications, the streamlining of the guidebook, and where do you think we'll be in 10 years? Do we get there?
Yeah, I really don't think they do. I know for people who are really into rules discussions, they'll think that this is a radical change in the rule book. I don't believe it is at all. I think it will affect tour play, and the tour players will be the elite players, elite amateur golf. They will like these changes. It makes it simpler. For the way the three of us play golf, I think it will have almost no effect. And if the USGA is really committed, as Sean was saying, to faster play and making the game simpler for more people and making it less expensive, this is the tip of the iceberg. And the USGA and the R&A can go, and I think in time we'll need to go much, much further to make the game continue to be relevant.
It's going to be a slow process. You know, the pace of play numbers, we'll get data on that after 3 years, after 5 years, and we'll really understand how effectual that these changes have been. And that only begins on January 1 of 2019. So it's going to be a slow process. We have to understand that.
The reaction, though, has generally been pretty positive, both from amateurs and from professionals. We're seeing it all over Twitter, and there's a discussion already, including this now 6-month period where we have the feedback that the USGA and the R&A are asking for. So isn't this a good first step, wouldn't you say?
It is, but you just, 20 months from now is when these things go into effect. So we're going to have this little grace period, a trial period of sorts, where we can understand if these rules make sense, if we need more rules changes, if we need more proposals. So it's going to take time. It is a good step, but it's not something that is going to even affect us next week when we play.
But I do think, Marika, you make a very good point, because I think you can go right on down the line, and every single thing they're proposing is an improvement. And now I personally think it's going to look silly to drop a ball from 1 inch. But there's a reason why they chose 1 inch, because the fact is, once it's higher than 1 inch, that ball starts rolling when it's on slopes, and that slows things down. There's a logical basis for every single thing they did. And when I went through the list, there was not one single thing where I thought that makes the game worse. I thought every single one of them makes the game better.
I think the theme really is just simplicity, taking things that were very complicated, the drop rule, fixing spike marks, things that were complicated, that felt needlessly complicated, and simplifying them. They can go a couple steps further, but right now, like you said, it's a good first step.
Obviously, we have lots to look forward to over the next 20 or so months when these rules will come into effect. But in the meantime, thank you, gentlemen, for joining me on this episode of Golf Today, and thank you for joining us. We'll see you right here next time.